Welcome to the Positively No Gambling Podcast, the pro football show that is definitely not about betting. My name's Glenn Fraser. It's Sunday, August 3rd, and this is the 2025 team preview for the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, so preview format, two big questions from the start of the offseason, then we'll recap 24, overview 2025, including additions and losses, some strengths and weaknesses, preview the 2025 schedule, look at some trends and stats over the past couple of seasons and how they could apply to this season. Uh, Look at some early against the spread lines and leans, and then conclude on whether the team has answered those two big questions before wrapping up with a prelim over-under pick. The final over-unders will be part of the conference previews right before the season. All right, let's dig into the Ravens, a really fun team to talk about for 2025. I mean, honestly, the questions, there's only two of them. Can this defense be elite from week one? Last year, they finished the season with one of the league's best defenses, but some of their early struggles definitely were because that defense just did not gel at the beginning, which was expected. They had a new defensive coordinator, Zach Orr. He's in year two. Can he get this team to be great from week one? And if he does, boy, this team will have Super Bowl aspirations. And which is the second question, which can't really be answered, but can this team make the Super Bowl? That is where we are at with the Ravens right now. They've been so good for so long over the past couple of seasons. Everyone's in fighting shape. Everyone's in their prime. That really is a difference maker here. It's not now or never, but it's boy, if they don't make a Super Bowl this year or sometime soon, this is really going to be looked back upon as a wasted opportunity for all of these guys because there's so much talent there. To recap 2024, they were 12 and 5. They won the North. Obviously, we all remember that loss to the Bills in the divisional round. That was brutal. One of the worst losses that I can remember, and the circumstances there. Uh, in 24, like we said, they started off a little bit slow. They were 0-2 and two really tough losses to the Chiefs and the Raiders. And then they just were the best team in football, especially down the stretch, in my opinion. They were 12 and 3, bunch of big time wins and big time blowouts. They had the 25th easiest schedule and the 25th luckiest schedule, so a really tough schedule, and yet they beat seven playoff teams and played 10 playoff teams. They were 5 and 5 in one score games, so there's not that lopsided wins in the one score games that you see with some others, including the Chiefs. And it's just undeniable talent. This is the most talented team in football, in my opinion. And they have just had one of the best 3 year stretches in recent memory. They are incredible. Like the 30 points per game, 21 points per game allowed, a 70% Pythagorean expectation is incredible. Top three offense, top 10 defense. It's really unfortunate that this team didn't make the Super Bowl last year because I really thought that they could have won it. Looking at their offense, pretty much the same. The amount of green and dark green on here is remarkable. They didn't lose. They lost Patrick McCarry, a guard. That's really it. They've added strategically D Hop from Kansas City, who I don't know how much he's got left in him, but he represents a good opportunity for a wide receiver three. They added Emory Jones in the draft. LeJohntay Wester, probably a rotational guy in the draft as well. But beyond that, this is the team, and rightfully so. Why would you change something that's humming along this well on the offensive side of the ball? Blue chips, obviously Lamar, obviously Derrick Henry. Got a really good center, Tyler Linderbaum, sorry, and a bunch of high potential superstars catching the ball. Say Flowers, Mark Andrews, despite his Super Bowl, his playoff disappointment at the end of that divisional game. He's a really good tight end, as is Isaiah Likely. So they often you'll see both of those guys on the field at the same time. Uh, the run game is the run game. It's one of the absolute best in football. Lamar's perennial MVP candidate. Not much else to say about this. X factor, I think the left side of the line, if there is a weakness here, it's that left side of the line. Ronnie Stanley, they brought back, and Andrew Voorhees. The grades on these linemen are a little bit lower, and that didn't really show its face, but it's something we all kind of feel. And so if this line can really gel and become one of the league's best, somehow this offense that was already top of the league might get even better and might get even scarier. Defense, I mean, whew, this is another unit that ended the season as one of the league's top and is entering the 2025 season as expected to be one of the league's best. In terms of movement, uh, nothing too crazy here. Brandon Stevens moved on to the Jets, but was replaced. Anybody that sort of moved on was either replaced fully or didn't need to be replaced. One thing to note, Michael Pierce, that's the guy that had that big interception in the, I guess, the wild card round against Pittsburgh. He retired. So maybe they look a little bit soft at nose tackle. Blue chips, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith. Some people his metrics fell off a little bit, but I still love Roquan Smith. So these are incredible secondary, really good linebackers. If there's a weakness, it's the pass rush, I guess, like so many teams. Um, but Matabuke is good. Van Noy is good. Oweha can get to the quarterback. The X factors are really the guys that they brought in, and they did bring in some big time names. Jair Alexander. Joke obviously will be when will he be playing? When he does play, he's pretty damn good. But if he could play like he's capable and stay healthy to add on to this already stacked secondary, I mean, you could be looking at a dominant team. Malachi Starks, I like that draft pick. Safety, and then edge Mike Green. I know there's some character issues. I know there was a reason why he fell, but to me, he's worth the gamble for a team like Baltimore. Guy with maybe first round talent that you're able to get in later rounds. That's the type of swings that this leadership is making, and I think it's going to pay off because on paper this looks like a dominant defense. Make or break, not applicable. They're one of the league's best going into 25. Schedule. So they're a number one team in a tough division, so of course they're going to play a difficult looking schedule. The what's worth pointing out is just how difficult it looks on the road. They got to play Kansas City on the road. They got to play Buffalo on the road. They're in Miami, which is just, despite what you think about the talent, is always a difficult place to play. Same with Minnesota. They have to play in Green Bay in December. That's going to be tough. This start is brutal looking. They really can't get that. They can't afford that same slow start that they had last season because of how many great teams they're playing up front. Now, what I will say about the road, they're one of the league's best at covering the spread on the road. So that tough schedule, sorry, could be a little bit more manageable, at least from a covering the spread aspect. Some of the advanced stuff from last year, they were almost exact to their Pythagorean win expectation, which is remarkable. They were 5-5 in close games, which makes that stat make sense. So again, nothing crazy here. They weren't squeaking by the majority of their games. They won as many as they lost when it comes to the one score. O-line above average, but still questions. We talked about that. Need to improve on the pass rush, average and the run stop. 3-year trend is remarkable in that it's I think it's either the best in the league or top three along with Buffalo. It is like the best 3-year trend and the best 5-year trend that has been observed. And they are exactly what their record says they are over the past 3 years. They win as many one score games as they lose. They're not completely inefficient, which would indicate maybe that they need to come back and regress back to the mean. None of that exists with them. They are just incredible, which leads to the sort of conclusion with this team, which is there's no clear signs that this team's overachieving or underachieving. We could nitpick as to why they haven't had more postseason success, but the focus obviously is into 25, and this could be the year that they break through. It's all about a couple of key matchups, and we'll get to them in a second. In terms of the early against the spread leans, I mean, this is incredible. One, two, three, four, five, six, nine picks against the spread that I could find in August that have value, including week 2 against the Browns. It's a huge number, but they cover that number at home against the Browns regularly. I'm not worried about that one. This might surprise some, but week 3 against the Lions, we're only giving 3 points. I like that. Week 4 at the Chiefs, 1.5, getting 1.5. They always stay in those games. Week 6 against the Rams, they're only minus 4.5. The Bears, that probably should be closer to double digits. I mean, this is an incredible amount of picks, and obviously they won't cover all of these picks, but I like the matchups. I like the line value. They're either number one or number two talented, most talented teams going into 25. And we would never advocate teasing, but if you absolutely have to do it, 3 point tease, 3 team tease, 6.5 points, just include the Ravens because they are one of the absolute best at covering spreads and covering teases for the past couple of seasons. So, do I think they will be an elite defense from day one? I do. Uh, do I think that they're going to make the Super Bowl? We'll get to that. But they are certainly, without a doubt, one of the 2 or 3 favorites in the AFC. It's a big over 11.5, but I like it. I think that this team gets to 12 wins again easily, maybe even 13, maybe even 14. They are poised to have another deep playoff run and contend for the Super Bowl. And they are, including 25, they are likely to have one of the best stretches in league history. And if they don't make the Super Bowl in any of those seasons, we will be remembering this historic Baltimore team for the wrong reasons. So it's really make or break time for the Ravens to make it to that Super Bowl. And of course, we know what's blocking them from getting to that Super Bowl. It's Buffalo and it's Kansas City. And just I'll end with this. I can't justify this because it's not backed up by anything on the field, in the stats, but I just can't help but fear this season might get away from them. I'm still picking them over, but something in the back of my mind, I don't know if it's injuries, I don't know if it's all of a sudden Derrick Henry hits the wall, if it's chemistry, if it's schedule, I don't know, but this just back of my mind can't help but think this might not be the Ravens' year, and we'll get to that in our next episode when we talk about the Buffalo Bills. Thanks. Bye bye.